When people think about alcohol causing problems, they usually imagine something dramatic: rock bottom, health issues, relationships falling apart. But for most people, that's not where the real cost begins. Alcohol usually takes something much quieter first, something most people don't notice disappearing, and by the time they do notice, years have often passed. Before alcohol takes your health, before it takes your energy, before it causes obvious problems, it usually takes something much more subtle. It takes your clarity, not in a dramatic way, just a gradual softening of awareness. Decisions become a little less intentional. Evenings become a little bit more automatic. And instead of choosing how you want to spend your time, you start repeating the same pattern. Drink, switch off, start again tomorrow. And because everything still looks normal on the outside, it's very easy to miss what's quietly changing underneath. The strange thing about habits is that they rarely announce themselves. They just slowly become part of life. At first, drinking might have just been occasional. Then it became something you did to relax. Then something you did most evenings. And eventually, it becomes the default way the day ends. Not because you consciously decided that that's how you want to live, but because repetition has been a way of quietly shaping behavior. And when something becomes automatic, you stop questioning it. Once that pattern settles in, something else begins to shift. Your relationship with your evenings. Instead of asking, what do I actually want to do tonight? The evening already has a script. Work ends, a drink appears, the rest of the night unfolds around it. And when that happens for long enough, something subtle starts to fade. Curiosity. The sense that your time belongs to you. The freedom to choose how you want to feel. This quiet drift into autopilot is something many people only recognize once they step back and look at it clearly. It's something I explore much more deeply in my book, When Drinking Feels Like Coping, and in the 30-day reset plan, which is designed to help people step out of that automatic pattern and rebuild a more intentional relationship with their evenings. Both are linked down below if you're interested in exploring that further. But the key thing is simply to become aware of the pattern, because awareness is where change begins. The hidden cost of normal drinking isn't always about how much you drink. It's about how automatically you drink. It's about the quiet assumption that the day naturally ends this way. And once something becomes the default, it stops feeling like a decision. It just feels like life. The moment you begin to question that assumption, however, something interesting happens. You start to see the habit clearly. And when you see a habit clearly, it becomes much easier to change. Many people who change their relationship with alcohol notice something surprising. They don't just feel physically better, they feel mentally clearer. Decisions feel more intentional, evenings feel longer, and that quiet sense of being on autopilot starts to disappear. Not because they forced themselves to change everything overnight, but because they stepped out of the pattern long enough to see it. And once you see something clearly, it becomes very difficult to go back to not noticing it. If you've started noticing this pattern in your own life, that awareness matters more than you might think, because most meaningful changes don't begin with dramatic decisions. They begin with a quiet moment of clarity, a moment where you realize that something you've been repeating is no longer something you actually want. And if this video resonated with you, you may find the rest of my videos in this series helpful as well. Sometimes alcohol doesn't take anything obvious at first. It simply takes your awareness. And once awareness fades, the habit quietly takes care of itself.